In Japan, stricter government safety standards to control the level of radioactive substances in food went into effect April 1st. On April 6th, the central government banned shipments of bamboo shoots and shiitake mushrooms. They exceeded the new government safety standards for radioactive levels. Since the Fukushima forests were heavily contaminated by radiation, oak trees are needed to raise the mushrooms, and shiitakes tend to absorb the radioactive cesium now that's in the soil. Alright, today is October 15th, 2012, and I bought some shiitake mushrooms, actually just one, because I read on the Japanese Ministry of Health radiation test lists that a bunch of stuff I noticed was that they did test was way above their safe readings, and one of those items was a shiitake mushroom, so I figured I wanted to test one of these. So there's the background, and this was bought in the burbs of Cleveland, Ohio, USA, and we'll do our backgrounds and see what this one mushroom tests for. And the first background is 370, 4 count high, 0.62 average data point. And there it is. A little bit, a touch above normal, but we'll see what the other two test. Test 2 background for the shiitake mushroom, 372, 4 count, 0.62. Alright, this is test 3 background on the shiitake mushroom, 376, 4 count, 0.63. I must have hit a hot spot. I pulled the mushroom down, or the detector probably say not even a eighth of an inch from the middle. It seems like, unless I'm picking up more off that stem now, I'll have to put the stem in the middle. Maybe the stem holds a higher concentration than the cap itself. See what I mean? The center of the counter is right here, so I'm going to pull it back a little bit so it's right there. Alright, now I didn't think, okay, like seaweed and kelp naturally have the iodine in it. I don't think mushrooms are supposed to be naturally radioactive, so what I'm picking above background is something, and I'm pretty sure the mushrooms are pulling cesium and whatever out of the soil, and it's in the mushroom itself. Now this is a mushroom product of the United States. It would be interesting to get a shiitake mushroom that was grown in Asia or in Japan. Alright, this is test 1 on that lone shiitake mushroom, and it is reading a 489 with the 5 count, so I think it's picking something up. The average data point is 0.82. So that's definitely above background. Test 2 for the lone shiitake mushroom, 430. I got a 6 count high, 0.72. And there was the spike. Here's the test 3 on the single lone shiitake mushroom, 420, 10 minutes, 4 count, 0.70. And there you go. Alright, the 3 tests were done, and I just wanted to show that it's one mushroom. One shiitake mushroom is all I tested. So I didn't want to waste my money just in case I didn't get anything. So I'm pretty sure I'm picking something up in it. So this will be the first part of this video. In the second half, I'm going to go pick up 5 or 6 or 7 more mushrooms and smash them down so I can get them underneath the detector and do another test with maybe 5 to 10 mushrooms. So that's all the testing for now. Alright, today is October 18th, 2012, and this is the first background reading for the shiitake mushrooms that I'm going to test. And my first test is 364. 4 count high, 0.61 average data point. Alright, this is test 2 background for the shiitake mushrooms. And I got a 378, 5 count high, 0.63 average data count. Alright, here is test 3 on the shiitake background. 407, 5 count high, 0.68. Alright, yesterday I bought some fresh shiitake mushrooms on the 17th of October. That was yesterday. And I'm going to go do a test on some fresh ones out of California, which that's what these are. Some out of Pennsylvania, which is on the east side of the country. Then also some from China. So let's see what it reads. The reason why I'm doing this is I was scouring the Japanese Ministry of Health website tests of radiation, and they're doing a lot of testing, which I do appreciate that. But I was looking for everything that was above background, way above background, or actually way above their standards. And what stuck out was shiitake mushrooms, bamboo shoots, hare meat, and boar meat. So that gave me the idea of testing these mushrooms. Alright, this is the first test on the shiitake mushrooms out of the West Coast. And it's a 481, 5 count high, 0.80 average data point. There's the graph. So this is the first one, but what I'm going to do with the next one is I'm going to cut the pieces up smaller so I could fit more underneath the detector, because they're kind of scattered right now, and see if that gets a higher reading. Alright, here is the second test on the unchopped shiitake mushrooms out of the West. I'm getting a 480, which is 1 count lower than the last one. 5 count high, 0.80. There's the graph chart. So what I'm going to do is keep those two, and now I'm going to chop up the mushrooms and see what kind of reading I get on that. Alright, here are my fresh shiitake mushrooms, and see how scattered they are. What I'm going to do is cut them up so I can get them closer together and see if I can get a higher reading. Alright, there they are. They were kind of hard to chop, but I chopped them up a few and I positioned and smushed them together so they can be more central to the Geiger counter. And here goes. Alright, this is my first test with the mushrooms chopped, and it's basically almost close to the same. This is a 489, 5 count, 0.82. Alright, test 2 on the chopped shiitakes. Got 497, 5 count high, 0.83. Test 3 on the chopped shiitake mushrooms. 483, 4 count, 0.81 average data point. Alright, here is the first test on the shiitake mushrooms out of Pennsylvania. 415, 5 count, 0.69. Alright, this is test 2 on the East Coast shiitake mushrooms. I got a 401, 4 count high, 0.67 average data point. Alright, this is test 3 on the shiitake mushrooms out of Pennsylvania. I'm calling them the East Coast shiitakes, and I'm getting a 398, 4 count high, average data point 0.66. There's the graph, and it's kind of exactly what I suspected. East Coast will have less than the West Coast, and the next batch will be the China shiitakes. I'm betting those will be the highest, but we'll see. Alright, this is what I'm calling the East Coast Shiitake mushrooms, because they actually do say that they're distributed out of Pennsylvania. So I'm taking that they're grown out there. Alright, here are my shiitake mushrooms that are coming out of China. They're in a package. That's the brand. They say it's 100% natural. And the problem I have, which I asked the lady at the store, that it has a best before date, but there's no dates on them, and she said that's how they come. So this is distributed out of California there. It's a product of China, it says right there. So let's check it out and see what they test. Alright, here's the test 1 on the shiitake mushrooms out of China. And just what I suspected. We're getting a 540, 5 count high, 0.90 count, and this is the first test. Test 2 on the shiitake mushrooms out of China. 549, 5 count, 0.92. Alright, we have test 3 on the shiitake mushrooms from China. And I'm getting a 537, 5 count high. Average data point is 0.90. There you go. Alright, what I'm going to do now is going to take this off and see how much area there is covering. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pulverize these shiitake mushrooms into a powder, since these are the dry ones. I'm going to get it concentrated into a corner here and see what kind of reading I get off of that. Alright, here we go. The first test on the pulverized shiitake mushrooms out of China. And I got 600. 4 count. 1.0 count is the average data count. And there you go. It's the highest reading. Alright, here's my second reading of the pulverized shiitake mushrooms from China. And that's reading a 535, 6 count high, 0.89. Alright, my third test on the pulverized shiitake mushrooms from China is a 538 with a 5 count high, 0.90 average data point. And there's the chart. Alright, my conclusion on the shiitake mushrooms is obvious, since I don't believe radioactivity is natural in mushrooms, and I know for a fact that mushrooms do pull cesium out of the ground or in the oak stumps that they grow in. Look at the charts with the fallout more heavily in the United States on the west coast from hitting the Rocky Mountains. We could see that East Coast is the lowest level against background, even though it's very tiny. Remember, these are only baseline, so who knows what it will be 10 years from now. But right now, since there is no radiation naturally in mushrooms, the Pennsylvanias are still a tad above background. So that's East Coast would have less radiation impact than the West Coast. So we got least amount Pennsylvania, next would be California, and then China with the highest because they're closer to ground zero. So shiitakes, they smell awful, but I don't know what soups they're making it in, but I would just scratch that one off the list also. Background, shiitake. Background, shiitake. Background, shiitake. Background, shikaka.